What impulse spending habits do you actually need to stop? This is day two, or episode number two, of our guilt free impulse spending series. And today we're talking about what you need to stop doing. So here we go. Welcome back to another episode of the Your Money, Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Aimee Cerka. Right now, we are talking about guilt-free impulse spending. This is day two, episode number two. On last episode, we talked about what impulse spending is and why we do it. At its core, it's emotional triggers coming from our money mindset. But if you missed that episode, really should just pause this one, go back and listen to that one first. I'll make sure the links are below in the show notes, make it easy for you because there's a reason for the order in which we are covering these things. Okay. But today we're going to talk about impulse spending habits you do need to stop. Now, just as a reminder, we don't need to stop all of it. In fact, you need to impulse spend to create long-term wealth and long-term success. And we're going to talk more about that probably day 4. But at its core, we have to stop impulse spending without tools and systems in place to prevent the haphazard impulse spending. Okay. And I know having strategies and systems in place to limit the impulse spending that's not really the right word. Limit. It doesn't feel like impulse spending if you have tools and strategies, but stick with me because they're not as limiting as you think they are. Okay. I'll share my favorite tool on the 3rd episode and then day 4 or episode 4, whatever we want to call it. That's like where the magic kicks in. Okay. What are the tools that you need then, right? We have to stop doing it without the tools and systems in place. So what tools do you need? The first one, like at a minimum, you need a budget. And we're going to talk more about that again on day 4, episode 4. And we'll get into like the mindset behind a budget because it's not meant to limit you. Let's address some of the things that I hear where people think we have a budget and we don't actually have a budget. Okay. Because this is key. You don't have a budget just because you keep an eye on the bank account. Just because you check the bank account balance or there's money in the bank account, you do not have a budget. You do not have a budget just because you have an app that tracks your expenses. This is one of the most dangerous ones because it gives you that false sense of security. But yes, tracking your expenses is good and you should be doing that, but that's not a budget. Tracking your expenses is reactionary, done after the fact. A budget is setting the intention beforehand. Okay. This is going to be a double negative, but we have to stop not taking responsibility. So take responsibility. I know you don't need to add a bunch of things to your plate, though. Like, this is not what is going to happen, but we can't take the easy way out because it's hurting you long term. And whether it's the easy way out because you don't want to see the numbers and you feel like you can outwork them, because that's a real thing, or this is the easy way out because you can't handle one more thing on your plate right now. Regardless of it, that's not working any longer. And you're losing money by not taking the responsibility. So if we're avoiding having a budget because we don't want to know where things are at, we want to be able to guilt-free impulse spend, you're actually creating more guilt. It's just done at a different layer, so you're not feeling it as painfully obvious. Okay. And why is this so crucial? Like, your budget is such a powerful tool, and we're going to get into a couple of the other tools again tomorrow, next episode and the 4th episode. So we've got you covered. But we have to have that responsibility here because marketing and advertising is a billion-dollar industry. It's effective. It works. There's nothing necessarily wrong with it either. Because, like I market and I advertise too. And yes, we want it to work. All businesses do. But if you're not setting the intention of what you want to spend your money on and counteracting those 4 triggers, because guess what? The marketing and advertising industry knows exactly what they need to say to be able to trigger those things for you. So if you're not aware of what's going on and you don't have the system and tools in place to impulse spend in a way that feels good and on things that are actually important to you, because how many of us have bought something and later you're like, I didn't even want that. Those triggers are happening because we don't have the right systems and tools in place. Okay. So essentially, we have to stop impulse spending without the strategies in place. And your budget is the overall one. Okay. This is like your big picture. You have to have a budget in place. Your budget is not meant to limit you. Your budget is simply setting the intention of where you want your money to go. It's not about limiting you. You can spend your money on whatever the heck you want. And we're going to get in more into this in day 4 with like the magical part that puts it all together for you. But know that just because you have that budget in place does not mean that you are limited. Okay. That's what we've got for today. Which your action step, I want to hear from you. Send me a message on Instagram. Which part of today kind of was like, oh no, like I'm not doing that. That feels hard. That feels scary. Whatever it was, what was like that red flag for you that you were like, nope, I'm out. I'm done. Not doing it, Aimee. Listening to you, but you're checking out. All right. Send me a message on Instagram. I want to hear where this is landing for you and which parts were kind of like, no, don't want to do that, because I want to make sure this is tailored to actually help you. All right. At Aimee Cerka, links in the show notes as well. We'll see you next time. If you're struggling with shame and guilt around your finances, whether it's debt, impulse spending, mistakes from the past, or the fact that you still haven't hit your income goal, then it's time for you to work with me. There are different levels of support and price points that you can use on the path to removing that guilt and shame so you can step into your unstoppable life. After all, your finances are unique to you, and your support should be too. Go to workwithaimee.com to get started with one of my most popular programs, or you can book a Q&A call with me and we'll figure out what that next step should be. And those links are hanging out in the description of this video as well.